Racist cop assaults Black U.S. Army general, instantly wishes he hadn't. The night is quiet in Arlington, Virginia, the kind of quiet that hums with suburban calm. Streetlights cast soft glows on manicured lawns, and the air smells faintly of magnolias. Lieutenant General Marcus Tate, a decorated Black U.S. Army officer, steps out of his sleek black SUV, his crisp dress uniform gleaming under the moonlight. At 52, he's a man who commands respect, 3 stars on his shoulders, a chest full of medals, and a career that's taken him from Kabul to the Pentagon. Tonight, he's just driven home from a military gala, his mind on his daughter's upcoming college graduation. But as he reaches for his keys, blue lights flash behind him. A police cruiser pulls up, and Officer Daniel Hargrove steps out, his hand already twitching toward his holster. "You, hands where I can see 'em." Hargrove barks, his voice sharp with an edge that Tate recognizes instantly, not authority, but prejudice. Within minutes, a routine stop spirals into a nightmare, one that will leave Hargrove regretting his actions and spark a reckoning that shakes the nation. This is the story of a general, a cop, and a moment that changes everything. Marcus Tate is no stranger to scrutiny. He's faced it his whole life, growing up in a rough Chicago neighborhood, climbing the military ranks, enduring the subtle and not-so-subtle slights of a world that often sees his skin before his stars. But tonight, he's not prepared for the raw hostility in Hargrove's eyes. The officer, a 15-year veteran with a history of complaints, claims Tate's SUV matched a description of a stolen vehicle. It's a flimsy excuse, and Tate knows it. His vehicle is registered, his plates are clean, and he's in full dress uniform, for God's sake. "Officer, I'm a lieutenant general in the U.S. Army," Tate says calmly, hands raised. "My ID is in my pocket. Let's clear this up." Hargrove sneers. "Don't care who you think you are. Step out of the vehicle. Now." The situation escalates faster than Tate can process. Hargrove's partner, Officer Sarah Wynn, hesitates in the background, her body language uneasy. When Tate reaches for his ID, Hargrove misinterprets the move, shoves him against the SUV, and cuffs him. A knee presses into Tate's back, and Hargrove mutters a racial slur under his breath, just loud enough for Tate to hear. Wynn's body cam captures it all. So does the dash cam. And so does the phone of a neighbor, a teenager named Jamal, who's filming from his porch. By morning, the video is everywhere. The clip spreads like wildfire across social media platforms, including X, where hashtags like #JusticeForGeneralTate and #RacistCop trend within hours. The footage is damning, a decorated black general, in full uniform, pinned to the ground by a white officer who seems to relish the power. The slur, caught faintly but unmistakably, ignites outrage. News outlets from CNN to Al Jazeera pick up the story, and protests erupt outside the Arlington police station. Tate, released after an hour with no charges, refuses to stay silent. "I've served this country for 30 years, he says in a press conference, his voice steady but heavy. "I've faced enemies abroad and prejudice at home. But what happened last night wasn't just about me. It's about every black man, woman, and child who's been profiled, harassed, or worse." Hargrove, suspended pending investigation, doubles down in a leaked interview, claiming he felt threatened and accusing Tate of resisting. But the evidence is overwhelming, and Wynn, torn by guilt, agrees to testify about Hargrove's history of biased behavior. The department scrambles to contain the PR disaster, but the damage is done. Tate's story resonates, not just because of his rank, but because it exposes a truth too many have lived: even a general's uniform can't shield you from racism. Behind the headlines, Tate grapples with the personal toll. His daughter, Aisha, a senior at Howard University, watches the video and cries, not just for her father but for the world she's inheriting. Tate's wife, Dr. Elena Tate, a pediatrician, urges him to sue, but Marcus hesitates. He's not after money, he wants change. Meanwhile, Hargrove's life unravels. His wife leaves him, his colleagues distance themselves, and he becomes a pariah in his own precinct. Yet he clings to his narrative, refusing to admit fault. Officer Wynn, caught in the middle, faces her own reckoning. A rookie who joined the force to make a difference, she's haunted by her silence during the stop. She reaches out to Tate, apologizing and sharing stories of Hargrove's unchecked behavior. Her decision to speak out costs her friends on the force but earns her respect from the community. Jamal, the teenager who filmed the incident, becomes an unexpected hero. His video, posted to X, sparks a local youth movement demanding police accountability. But the attention brings threats, and Jamal's mother worries for his safety. Tate, moved by the boy's courage, meets with him, offering mentorship and a promise: your voice matters. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. The case goes to court, not just for assault but as a referendum on systemic racism in policing. Tate's legal team, led by a sharp civil rights attorney, argues that Hargrove's actions reflect a broader culture of bias. The defense paints Tate as aggressive, but the body cam footage dismantles their case. Wynn's testimony seals Hargrove's fate, revealing a pattern of racial profiling she witnessed over months. The jury convicts Hargrove of assault and misconduct, sentencing him to 2 years in prison, a rare outcome in such cases. The trial's bigger impact is on policy. Arlington's police chief, under pressure from protests and Tate's high-profile status, announces sweeping reforms: mandatory de-escalation training, stricter oversight of officer complaints, and a civilian review board. The department also launches a bias training program, though critics argue it's a band-aid on a deeper wound. Tate, invited to consult on the reforms, pushes for community policing models that prioritize trust over confrontation. Tate's case reverberates beyond Arlington. On X, users share stories of their own encounters with police bias, amplifying the call for reform. A 2025 report by the Urban Institute notes that 60% of U.S. police departments have adopted new training protocols since 2020, spurred by high-profile cases like Tate's. The general becomes a reluctant symbol, speaking at national forums alongside activists and lawmakers. His message is clear: this isn't about one cop or one general. It's about a system that needs to change. Hargrove, out of prison after 18 months, fades into obscurity, a cautionary tale for officers who let prejudice guide their actions. Wynn leaves the force to start a nonprofit training cops into escalation techniques, inspired by Tate's grace under pressure. Jamal earns a scholarship to study filmmaking, vowing to keep telling stories that hold power to account. The script doesn't shy away from the hard truths. Racism in policing isn't solved by one trial or one set of reforms. A 2024 DOJ report found that Black Americans are still 3 times more likely to be stopped by police than their white counterparts. Yet Tate's story shows what's possible when power meets accountability. His rank gave him a platform, but his humanity gave him a voice. The neighbor's video, Wynn's courage, and the public's outrage turned a single incident into a catalyst for change. The story also highlights the cost of speaking out. Tate faces death threats, and his family lives under heightened security. But he presses on, driven by a soldier's duty to protect, not just his country, but its ideals. I swore an oath to defend justice, he tells Aisha. This is what that looks like. Lieutenant General Marcus Tate didn't set out to be a hero. He just wanted to go home. But when a racist cop crossed his path, Tate's response, calm, resolute, and unyielding, forced a nation to look in the mirror. Hargrove wished he'd never pulled over that SUV, but his regret came too late. The video, the trial, and the reforms that followed proved one thing: no one is above accountability, not even those who hide behind a badge. This is a story of power, prejudice, and the fight for justice. It's a reminder that change doesn't come from silence, but from voices, whether they belong to a general, a rookie cop, or a kid with a phone. In a world where every moment can be captured and shared, the next reckoning is just one video away. Will we listen?